7th, 2020. I'm Jeremy Crosby. Hope you're having a wonderful day. And boy, you can't beat that sunshine outside today. It's just a gorgeous day, even though it's a little bit cooler, seasonably cooler. We're still enjoying that. Before the big polar vortex. Yeah, who knew you could get a polar vortex in the May, I guess. I don't know. Either way, it's only going to be here for a short time. But for you people who planted stuff early, might not be so good. So make sure you cover up those plants tonight. Check in with the National Weather Service as they got you covered on the bad news and the good news. So we'll lean on them for that. We talked a little bit about that in the update this morning of these cold temperatures. We're not going to talk about it on our show today, though. We do have a busy show for you coming up. We'll be talking with the Dane by Local Executive Director, Colin, will be joining us, talking about the grant program for small businesses. Served several hundred businesses already. We want to make sure businesses in Fitchburg know about this resource out there to help businesses during the COVID pandemic. And then we'll stick in with talking about COVID pandemic with our emergency manager, Joe Pulvemacher. He's your chief of the fire department plus emergency manager director. And we'll talk with him coming up in just a little bit of time. So you want to stay tuned for that. Very busy show today with guests and happy to share that info. But first, we turn to our headlines. We start with Fish Hatchery Road construction update. I know you're like, wait, we do that on Wednesdays, and that's already out there. Well, I want to make sure that you know this. May 7th, starting today, that their contractors have been working on grading around and through the Fish Hatchery Road driveways and businesses. That started at 7 a.m. this morning and is going to continue on here. This includes removal of grading and placement of rock and rock base for the new rock bed of the Fitchburg project here. So access to businesses will remain open. And yeah, they need to continue to work through that project. So you may have noticed some of those driveways being moved and then reset back up. All right, now we got to go to this, the drive-by parade. Did you see it yesterday? Well, if you didn't make it out there, we were there. All right, Jill, you had a successful drive-by parade today. The first question I have, why the costumes?
You know, well, I don't know why Mandy has so many costumes, but we just thought that this would be a perfect day to make people laugh and smile. It's just been so dreary and kind of a sad time and trying to just get rid of the COVID blues. So it was Mandy's idea to bring all these costumes, and I think it really made it funnier and just more fun.
Yeah, today was a special day. As cars were driving by, you were handing out some goodies. Tell me about the event overall.
Yeah, so, you know, a few weeks back we were just like, you know, we can't let people come here. They're calling. How can we just say hi to them and keeping it safe? And so we thought about this parade drive-by, and it kind of just grew. And then we got some volunteers to make a lot of masks. And so we put a mask in a bag with a thing of cookies and, you know, splashed it out with the help of Fact TV and all the social media, and just invited people to drive by. And then we hope to take the show on the road to go to some of the senior apartments that they can't drive or they don't get out. So, but yeah, just went off without a hitch.
Talk about your feeling for seeing some of the residents that you don't normally get to see and seeing them today.
I know. You know, there were some tears because, you know, you just realize how much you miss everybody. And I think too, for all of us, it really confirms like we are an essential service and people really need us, and they need that social opportunity, and that they missed us. And so it went both ways, and I think I didn't realize how much it meant to me to know how much they missed us, and hopefully they too you know, felt really good about getting out and knowing we care about them.
Jill, quickly tell us about a couple of programs you got coming up, or how you're adapting to this new
right.
social distancing.
New normal. Right? So with the help of Fact TV, we're able to put many of our health and wellness classes online so people can link up, and now we're working on some educational programs. I think there's the ice harvesting on there, and hoping that we can do more educational programs, some podcasts, to get the word out, and then have everything on Fact TV and the channels, and then go ahead and help promote that schedule through our newsletter and social media. So, yeah,
it's a work in progress. Yeah, you guys are doing great. It was a great event, great weather, and we'll see how many cars we got to count them. We'll go back to that video and count them.
Oh, awesome! Okay, that would be great.
All right. Well, if you didn't see here, the turkey.
It's an ostrich.
It's an ostrich.
And I'm riding it. I'm riding an ostrich.
I didn't notice the face mask until she came up here, but no, great event, and yeah. One heck of a parade.
Does a lot for my figure.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah.
We'll call that a day.
Yeah.
There you have it, a fun parade. Glad to see y'all come out for that. And I hope they do it again, as they had a good, fun time. And you got to love those blow-up animals as well. That's just really funny. But glad you were out there for the parade. And we'll get that posted up in case you missed it. All right, it's time for a break. Coming up next, we open up the Fitchburg Digest. We're talking with Colin from Dane Buy Local. Learn about the grant program they have working right now to help small businesses. That's next right here on Talking Fitchburg.
Touchdown! Oh, did you see that? Whoa, we scored?
Yeah, we scored. We're going to the playoffs.
I can't believe I missed that.
Every time I'm buzzed, I spend too much time on my phone.
What? I should take your phone away.
No. I'll call for a ride. Hey, why does my face look like that? I'm playing with these new face filters.
Okay, you know what? Yep, that's mine.
I'm gonna need that back.
No.
Kevin!
Gaining weight was easy. All I had to do was sit down and eat. Losing weight's a lot harder. I have to work at it every day. But with every step, I lower my risk for type 2 diabetes and heart disease. And that makes every step, every choice, every day very much worth the effort.
Learn how you can help stop diabetes by losing weight, eating healthy, and staying active. Visit checkupamerica.org or call 1-800-DIABETES.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. Joining me today is Colin Murray. He's from Dane Buy Local, Executive Director. Colin, how are you doing?
Great. Thanks for having me today. I appreciate it.
No, thank you for taking the time, Colin. I know you're very busy, very popular guy and very popular organization right now. And was very popular before all of this started with COVID-19, mind you. So just throw that out there. But we are here today to talk about the grant program that you are partnered up with the county. Colin, first, for people who don't know who Dane Buy Local is, can you share a little information with our viewers?
Sure. So we're a trade organization here in Dane County, is supporting local businesses. The national organizations have lots of resources behind them and lots of dollars to back all of that up. And the local businesses don't have that advantage. So by joining together, by collaborating with all these various local businesses, we can become a powerful source of being able to help each other. And so that's really what we're all about, is just pulling all those resources together, collaborating, and sharing information and sharing resources so that we can stand up for ourselves and make sure that we're being heard.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys have done some phenomenal work leading up to COVID-19, and then that hits, and obviously small businesses and businesses alike have been affected by this. Tell me a little bit about the Small Business Pandemic Support Grant Program.
Yeah, it's a mouthful, I know. So this is something that has been initiated by Dane County. So they approached me in early April and asked how they could help support local businesses. Dane County and Joe Parisi in particular have been very supportive of Dane Buy Local. In fact, Dane County was the first government entity anywhere in the nation to join a Buy Local group. Wow. So Joe's been a longtime supporter, and the city of Fitchburg, I might add, is also now a member of Dane Buy Local as well. So they followed suit right after the county did. So that's very commendable there as well. So they approached me, Joe's office approached me and said, what can we do to help local businesses? And I had just gotten off the phone about 2 hours previous to that on a nationwide phone call with Buy Local groups. And in Louisville, Kentucky, and in Arizona, they were putting together grant programs, or trying to put together these grant programs. And so I mentioned that to the county executive's office, that wouldn't it be great if we could do something like that here? And they said, let us talk to Joe and see what we can do. About 12 hours later, I got a phone call back, and they had $250,000 for us to work with and put together a grant program. So that was great. So about a week later, they called me and they're like, "How's it going?" And I said, "Well, it's good. We've pretty much gone through all of the money in a week's time. We had, I think, at 800 applications at that point, and great for the ones we were able to help, but it's not nearly, going to cover what is needed out there." And he says, "Well, let me see if I can find some more money." They call back about 12 hours later, and they had found another $550,000. So a total of $800,000, which is awesome. So about 10 days later, they call me back. "How's it going?" And I said, "Well, it's great for the ones that have received it." And he says, "Well, we just got these federal funds through the CARES Act from Washington, and there's a line in there that makes it sound like we might be able to share some of that with Dane Buy Local in the grant program." And he said, "Let me check with the attorneys. Let me check with Joe, and I'll get back to you." Well, this time it took a little longer for him to get back to me. It was a day or two later. I'm sure, they had many other things going on.
Sure.
So he says, "Yep, everything looks good. It looks like we would like to give you $10 million." And I'm like,
Wow.
"Did I hear that right? Are you sure about that?" $10 million. So 10.8 with the 800,000 we already had. Yeah, and so that's where we stand right now. And from what I can tell, there are a number of other grant programs. I think there's 2 others in the state of Wisconsin, and nationwide there's a few dozen programs out there, but nobody even comes close to the amount of dollars that we have for Dane County. So I think there was somebody out in California that was 5 million.
Wow.
I don't remember who that was, but yeah, we were like double what they're doing in a much smaller market.
Right.
So yeah, it's very impressive.
I would, yeah, definitely. How many businesses, Colin, do you think you have been able to provide grants to versus how many are coming in and requesting?
Yeah, so like I mentioned, we had 800 to start with. I think we're up to about 3,500 applications as of today, and about 1,000 of those came in since the announcement was made on Sunday at the press conference. There are funds there. There are funds available. I would guess we're probably going to go through the full $10.8 million, but there are funds available at this point to help businesses out. So we're happy to see that. And we realize that this is really a Band-Aid. It's not going to solve problems for anybody. The average grant is about $4,000 that we're giving out. I formed a committee. I'm not on the committee, but the committee decided that they would rather give smaller grants to a lot of businesses as opposed to large grants to a few businesses. So, so that way we can spread the dollars out. And again, it's not going to solve any business issues right now, but at least it'll help get them through this rough patch, and then we'll figure out what the next step is after that. This is just short-term, a little infusement of cash.
Absolutely. What are some of the business? I don't know if you've gotten to see any of the applications, but what are some of the businesses telling you out there as far as the need? Obviously, is there. We know that it's there, but what's some of the things that they're saying to you guys?
Yeah, I mean, it's all over the board, and it's 99% of the businesses in the area that are affected by this. There's very few that aren't touched. And numerous conversations that I'm having with people, they're desperate. And being the first of the month now, May, rent is due and other bills are coming due, and they don't have any source of income. And the typical business in Dane County only has cash reserves for about 30 days or so. They're not swimming in a lot of cash in the bank. And so now at this point, that cash is gone, or pretty close to being gone. So, I mean, there's definitely a need out there. And you hear the desperation in their voice. These are businesses that have put their life savings and all of their hard work into building these businesses. and now it's fallen apart. And it's not their fault. It's nothing they did. It's this virus going around, that's affecting all of this. And they're just watching their dream go down the drain. And it's heartbreaking to talk to them. So whatever little thing we can do, we're happy to help out. And that's what we're all about, supporting local businesses.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's an amazing organization, Colin, that you have going, and I'm so grateful that you guys are able to help with this. It's not easy handling so much demand for moving money around. So I can just imagine that you guys are staying busy out there. But thank you for everything that you have done, and for folks, for business owners who may don't know where to go, Colin, really quick, can you tell them where they can find the information on the grants?
Yeah, so it's very simple. It's our website, DaneBuyLocal.com, and buy is B-U-I, so it's DaneBuyLocal.com. And right there on the homepage, there's a Dane County seal, the logo. Just click on the link there, and it goes right to the application. It's a very simple application. There's basically, name, address, phone number, that sort of thing. And then there's a couple of questions in there. You can fill it out reasonably quick. So we just want to make sure that it's going to businesses that really deserve to receive these funds. The vast majority of people applying are qualifying. So it doesn't need to be anything super fancy. We don't need any financials from you or anything like that. So we try to keep it as simple as we can. We just really want to get the cash out and help people out best we can.
Colin, thank you so much for going through this, and best of luck moving forward. And a free invite here anytime you need help getting the word out, Colin. Let Effect TV know. We'd be happy to help. Great.
I appreciate your support and reaching out to us. Yeah, the more people we can help, the better.
Absolutely. Colin, thank you so much. Dane Buy Local. I said, check out the website. The information is right there for you, and you can get logged on. And certainly, Colin can help you if you have any questions out there. All right, we'll take a quick break. You are watching Talking Fitchburg.
¡Sam Elmo!
Hola, Julia. ¿Estás lista para tocar con nosotros? Yo tocaré mi clarinete.
Y Elmo tocará su tambor. Tambor ruidoso.
Bueno, ya sabes qué hacer, Julia.
Julia sabe.
Dado el autismo de Julia, los sonidos pueden ser muy fuertes.
Y hace música a su manera. ¡A tocar!
La detección temprana del autismo puede hacer una diferencia de por vida. Conoce más sobre la detección temprana en detecciondeautismo.org.
Our hearts are made stronger by how we treat others.
Put her there.
The light you share can impact those around you, but so can the darkness.
Later, twerps.
Did Pete saying mean things bother you?
So when you reach out to another person, take a moment to consider how they will feel and let your heart be the key to making a difference. Because of you, someone's entire day, year, or even life can change.
In every heart, there's hope.
Welcome back to Talking Fitchburg. Joining me today is your emergency manager, director, fire chief, father, and so much more. It is Joe Polvemacher. Joe, how you doing today?
Very well. How are you, Jeremy?
Living the dream, my friend. Living the dream. Thank you for taking the time. I know you have a busy schedule, but certainly we appreciate you being here.
Jeremy doesn't have a busy schedule nowadays. Everybody has a busy schedule.
Right. It's a true statement. Joe brought you on for a couple of different reasons. First, we'll have you put on your emergency management hat and give us kind of synopsis of where we are as far as the city of Fitchburg goes in emergency management with the COVID-19 pandemic.
I think one of the first things that we can do from the emergency management standpoint is just to keep an eye on certain trends. I think so much of what we've seen throughout this pandemic is the way that information has a tendency of being biased toward or against being safety minded or being pro-business minded. I think at the end of the day, what we just need to go with is the facts and what we know. We do know that this virus is spread in group settings. So what can we do in order to minimize that impact? We also know that this is not going to go away in the course of a month or over the summer. we're trying to set realistic expectation. The reason why you do that is not necessarily to excite. It's just so that people don't let their guard down. You don't necessarily want anybody to go into the general public thinking that, it's over now, because it's not going to be over for a while. The thing I think that it's going to best impact this virus is the ability to come up with an immunization, some type of inoculation that allows us to drastically reduce its spread. And that I know is the priority on a national level. From a state and from a county, a local level, that's typically where we're seeing this stuff being implemented. And our role with the city of Fitchburg is to identify those local needs. So it's important to get as much information as possible to be able to drive what we're going to do next and what is needed in the city. And that's the thing that I'm most responsible for, is to not only research where those issues are, but then to educate as far as what we need and how we need to get there.
Yeah, Joe, we really haven't ever dealt with something like this at this scale. As we move forward, a typical maybe emergency management situation, for instance, like flooding, like we had a lot of flooding. You get the resources in, you continue to do the follow-up. At some point, you kind of close the door on that. For this, it's hard to see an end in sight, now. But how does that affect emergency management planning, where something's just continuously going? Like, eventually, is this just going to roll into another checklist, something that we got to deal with it at all costs? Or you know what I'm talking about?
I do. I think so. Let's see if I do. I can tell you this. There's a couple of things that we need to be very conscientious of. Now, you bring up an interesting point. We have never in our lifetimes experienced a pandemic at this level, right? But there is so much that leads up to our being able to respond to this level of activity. A lot of it is learning on the go, and I'll just put that out there. I know from my perspective, a lot of people out there, whoever, especially if they really love their job, they're a student of their profession, a student of the game. And so there hasn't necessarily been a pandemic at this level. And it's interesting you say this now, because it was brought up to me in a conversation that involved readiness and getting data and a lot of other different things. And the person sort of turned it on me and said, well, Joe, just how many pandemics have you been involved in that you're speaking to it at this level? And I stopped and I said, okay, you know the answer to that. But the fact of the matter is we've had other vectors in our environment. We have had H1N1, we've had H1N5, monkeypox. I mean, there's other things in the public health forum that we've dealt with, not to this level, but it forced us to go through the paces, and it forced us to really take a close look at what we need to do in order to prepare our population. And that's where things get dangerous, because of the fact that after something like that hits and then we see the recovery and the recovery happens quicker, that people anticipate and expect that is the reality for all of these vectors, and it's not, obviously. So it's case by case. We have to work with the data that we know. We have to be conscientious of the fact that the way that it affects us doesn't affect other people the same way, and it's important to make sure that what we're doing is done responsibly, so we are not negatively impacting our healthcare system.
Yeah, no, I think good insight there into kind of the behind the scenes thing, Joe. Appreciate you breaking that down. As we look to things to reopen overall, what can we do to stay safe as that happens? Because it's not easy just to say open up everything and go. We know we're in that time right now. What shouldn't be open, but But as it happens, from your standpoint, what can we do to keep safe here moving forward?
I know this. I know from a city perspective, emergency response, economic development with Mike Zimmerman. We have the Chamber of Commerce with Angela. I mean, all of these entities are really working hard to try to identify what can be done on the city level to be able to stand things up responsibly. And we know that there are businesses out there that require their patrons to come back. We're fully aware of the fact that this impacts a lot of people at different levels, and some more than others, unfortunately. So what can we do to provide the appropriate insight that allows them to not only open their doors, but also gives them the tools so that when they bring their customers in, they're doing so in such a way so they're limiting the spread and they're providing the most direction for those that are taking advantage of their goods or services.
Yeah, no, I appreciate the info there. Real quick, on the supply end of things, we had a lot of great donations in the early onset for PPE. Where do you stand today as far as PPE, your supplies for our emergency and really our city employees and others?
Yeah, the supplies are actually in pretty good shape. The one thing that we've had a tough time getting in contact with or a hold of are gowns, and we're looking for reusable gowns that can come back. You know, you're able to wash them and then put them back into play. Through Dane County Emergency Management and Emergency Medical Services, they have found a way of actually deconning disposable equipment. It's grant funded through the federal government. So from a public safety standpoint, it looks like we'll be able to reduce our burn rate on equipment even more if we're able to send that in and have it deconned or actually cleaned and sanitized. So from a supply standpoint, we're doing pretty well, but we are always watching how much we're using and making sure that we're trying to get in front of the overall necessity.
Joe, thank you so much for taking the time. As always, tell everybody to stay safe out there. You stay safe as well. And I look forward to having you back on the show real soon.
You bet. Thanks, Jeremy.
All right, it's Joe Povelmacher, Emergency Management. I mean, this guy does everything. I mean, let's just be honest here. He does a lot of things. He's shaking his head. All right, we'll take a quick break. You are watching Talking Fitchburg.
See on page 4 that the projections need to be blood. Next Thursday?
Seriously? Thursday? Can't do that.
This is really inconvenient.
I have yoga that day.
I have no time for this.
So.
I can't do Thursday, but I can do Friday.
Disasters don't plan ahead. You can. Talk to your loved ones about how you're going to be ready in an emergency. Don't wait. Communicate.
Three, two, one. Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. Wrapping up the show for the day, I want to thank Colin from Dane by Local and the Fire Chief Joe Povelmacher, helping us keep you up to date on what's happening here in the city of Fitchburg for our emergency management. I want to remind you, you can stay connected with Fact TV all day long, whether it's through Facebook, social media, or well, Facebook is social media. You know, it is what it is. Apple TV, Roku, and always online at fitchburgwi.gov. We are up and running for you. Again, we're in this limited programming. We brought some of that back for you, including this show, Talking Fitchburg. I'll be back with an update tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Until then, cover your plants up tonight, people. You got to do it. See you tomorrow.